he was living every hooper's dream, millions in the bank, a starting role in the league, and a record-breaking season from deep. But in the blink of an eye, Malik Beasley's story took a turn. No highlight reel could hide. Today, the former Detroit Pistons sharpshooter isn't making headlines for his three-pointers. He's making them for all the wrong reasons. Evicted from his luxury Detroit apartment over $21,500 in unpaid rent, and now a subject in an ongoing FBI gambling probe, Beasley's fall from grace has sent shockwaves through the NBA community. How does a player go from cashing multi-million-dollar checks to fighting to keep a roof over his head? This is the unraveling of Malik Beasley and why his next move could define the rest of his career. Before the headlines turned ugly, Malik Beasley was known for one thing: getting buckets. Born in Atlanta, Georgia, in 1996, Beasley was a high-energy guard with a deadly shooting stroke who made waves at Florida State. In his lone college season, he averaged 15.6 points per game, enough to catch the eye of NBA scouts. The Denver Nuggets drafted him 19th overall in the 2016 NBA draft. His early years were about patience and development cracking. A loaded Denver rotation wasn't easy, but when he got minutes, Beasley showed flashes: quick release from beyond the arc, fearless drives, and the ability to heat up in an instant. It wasn't until the 2018-19 season that Beasley truly broke out, playing all 82 games, averaging 11.3 points, and shooting 40% from three. His performance in Denver's playoff run solidified his rep as a reliable role player. That surge set the stage for his trade to the Minnesota Timberwolves in February 2020, where his scoring jumped to 20.7 points per game in the pandemic-shortened season. Minnesota believed in him enough to offer a 4-year, $60 million contract in November 2020. But his time there wasn't without turbulence. Beasley served a 12-game suspension in 2021 after a legal incident involving threats of violence, though he returned to produce on the court. Over the next few seasons, he became a well-traveled sharpshooter, suiting up for the Utah Jazz, Los Angeles Lakers, Milwaukee Bucks, and finally the Detroit Pistons. The 2024-2025 season was arguably his best in terms of durability and consistency. Beasley played all 82 games for Detroit, averaging 16.3 points per game and breaking the franchise's single-season three-point record. His shooting was elite, spacing the floor, punishing lazy closeouts, and giving the Pistons an offensive weapon they badly needed. By the end of the season, Beasley was on the verge of another big payday. Reports indicated the Pistons were ready to offer him a 3-year, $42 million deal to keep him in Detroit. For a player who had bounced between teams and fought to prove his value, this was the kind of stability most NBA vets dream about. But in the summer of 2025, the script flipped. Whispers of a federal investigation into NBA-related gambling began to surface. Beasley's name, once linked to record-breaking shooting nights, suddenly appeared in stories about FBI probes, unpaid debts, and lawsuits. The rise that once looked like a straight climb to financial security had unknowingly set the stage for one of the most shocking falls of recent NBA memory. The summer of 2025 should have been Malik Beasley's victory lap, a time to cash in on his best statistical season and lock in long-term security. Instead, it became the start of a nightmare. In late June, reports began circulating that the FBI was investigating potential gambling activity connected to the NBA. The focus: alleged irregularities in prop bets, wagers on specific in-game stats. While the league and authorities remained tight-lipped, multiple outlets confirmed that Beasley was a subject of the probe. To be clear, no formal charges had been filed, but in the high-stakes world of pro sports, even the suggestion of involvement in gambling can derail a career overnight. For Beasley, the timing couldn't have been worse. The Detroit Pistons had been preparing a lucrative 3-year, $42 million offer to keep him Once news of the investigation broke, that offer was pulled. Other teams, wary of bad PR and potential league discipline, kept their distance. A player who had just led the Pistons in three-pointers suddenly found himself without a contract and with a cloud of suspicion hanging over his name. But the investigation was only part of the storm. Court records revealed that Beasley was drowning in debt, over $8 million owed to various creditors. The largest chunk was a $5.8 million loan from South River Capital, a financing company that specializes in lending to professional athletes. The deal, reportedly secured against his future NBA earnings, backfired when his career stability evaporated. He also owed $650,000 to Hazan Sports Management, a former agency, along with smaller but still staggering debts, $26,800 to Cairo Cuts. A luxury barbershop, $34,400 to a Detroit area dentist, tens of thousands to short-term lenders who target athletes. The financial pressure was intense enough that a Michigan court approved a garnishment of his Pistons' wages to pay off some of these obligations for a player once earning millions annually. This was a public and painful display of just how fast fortunes can turn. Then came the eviction. In March 2025, Beasley's landlord at the luxury City Club apartments in downtown Detroit filed suit for unpaid rent. That first case was dismissed, but by the summer, a second lawsuit landed, this time for $7,355 in rent and late fees. When Beasley failed to respond in court, a default judgment was issued. By August, the total amount owed had ballooned to $21,505. The 36th District Court issued an official order for eviction, and on a warm August morning, building staff and court officers cleared out his unit. Photos circulated online, boxes stacked in the lobby. A player once living like an NBA star now forced to pack up under the shadow of legal trouble. For fans, it was surreal. For Beasley, it was another gut punch in a year full of them. The fallout was immediate. Without a team and with the FBI investigation still active, his market value plummeted. Overseas leagues might have offered a lifeline, but until the gambling matter was resolved, even those opportunities were uncertain. The NBA has been here before, stars brought down not just by on-court decline, but by the off-court traps of fame and fortune. In Beasley's case, the combination of a high-profile gambling probe and a paper trail of unpaid debts created a perfect storm. What made it sting for fans was knowing how recently he had been at his peak, durable, productive, and on the brink of a life-changing payday. Now, the conversation had shifted entirely. From how many threes can Beasley hit in a season to will he ever play in the NBA again? The fall wasn't gradual. It was sudden, public, and brutal. The kind of reversal that shows just how fragile an athlete's position can be, even at the top of the game. When Malik Beasley's eviction and gambling probe hit the news cycle, the reactions were swift and divided. Beasley's own words. The only public comments from Beasley came through Snapchat, and they carried the tone of a man backed into a corner. I've been grinding my ass off, my back's against the wall, chip on my shoulder, ready to destroy anybody. He wrote in white text over a black screen. It wasn't an apology, nor was it an explanation. Instead, it was a signal to anyone listening that he planned to fight both for his name and his career. NBA players speak out. While no superstar came forward to directly defend or condemn Beasley, the situation sparked conversations among active and former players about financial literacy, gambling integrity, and the harsh realities of fame. Patrick Beverley, who briefly shared a locker room with Beasley in Minnesota, said on his podcast, "This league moves fast. 1 minute you're up, the next it's gone. That's why you've got to protect yourself on and off the court." Jared Dudley, now a coach, posted on X, formerly Twitter, not passing judgment on Bees, But for young guys in the league, stay away from anything that can get you in the headlines for the wrong reasons. It will cost you millions. Fans in the public on Reddit's RNBA, the top comment under the eviction story was blunt. Pay your bills. Man. Another wrote, this dude just broke Detroit's three-point record. How is he getting evicted? The disbelief was real. Fans couldn't reconcile the image of a $60 million contract holder with court documents showing overdue rent. There was also empathy. Some pointed out that many athletes aren't prepared for the sudden financial whiplash that comes with losing a big contract. Others speculated that if the gambling allegations proved false, Beasley might be able to rehabilitate his career and finances. Media reaction. Sports talk shows frame the story as part of a broader concern for the NBA. The integrity of the game, with the league already navigating new partnerships with sports books, any hint of player involvement in illicit betting could damage trust. ESPN analyst Kendrick Perkins summed it up on air. This ain't just about Beasley. This is about the NBA protecting its product. If guys are messing with gambling, it's bigger than one player's career. The silent majority. Many players stayed quiet, perhaps out of respect for due process, or simply to avoid being tied to controversy. But in NBA circles, the situation was a cautionary tale whispered in locker rooms. No matter how well you're playing, no matter how much money you've made, one misstep can put it all at risk. Beasley's next public move would matter. For now, his only statement was that defiant Snapchat post a message that, to his fans, read like a vow to return. Whether the league and the public will give him that chance remains to be seen. Malik Beasley's story is a stark reminder that in the NBA, the gap between millionaire and cautionary tale can be razor thin. Just months ago, he was Detroit's Iron Man, 82 games, 16.3 points per night, and a franchise record for threes in a season. Now, his name is tied to unpaid debts, court orders, and an FBI gambling probe. The uncertainty surrounding his future is as heavy as the headlines. If the investigation clears him, Beasley could still find a home in the league, likely on a shorter, incentive-lotta deal. But with the chance to rebuild his reputation, his skill set hasn't disappeared. Teams will always value a floor-spacing sharpshooter who can stretch defenses, but the road back won't just be about basketball. It will be about proving to front offices, teammates, and fans that he's stable, focused, and trustworthy. If the probe leads to disciplinary action or a suspension, the odds get longer. The NBA has zero tolerance for gambling violations tied to league games, and a significant punishment could push Beasley to seek opportunities overseas. While that might keep his career alive, it would be a far cry from the primetime stage he once occupied. For young players watching, Beasley's situation is a hard lesson. The game can reward you, but it can also take everything away if you lose focus off the court. Financial discipline, strong support systems, and avoiding even the appearance of impropriety are as vital to longevity as shooting percentages and defensive metrics for bounce-back ballers. This is where the heart of the story lies. Redemption isn't guaranteed, it's earned. If Beasley can take this rock-bottom moment and use it to fuel a return, he could transform this scandal into a comeback narrative. But if the weight of debt, legal trouble, and lost trust proves too much, his career may stand as what could have been in NBA history. The ball is in Malik Beasley's hands. Whether it's the shot at redemption or the final buzzer on his NBA journey, the next move is his to make